Today we're viewing Stranded Part 1, but the second half of Stranded, which includes Must-See TV and Divine Intervention. Well, that's it. That's that's pretty much the majority of what we're going to be doing today. And don't forget, for those of you just joining us on the Facebook page or people who are on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel itself. You just go and do a search for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We are almost close to our goal. We are about a little over 900 people. We're trying to get to 1,000. You can help us out today by subscribing to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're going to be having our bits of the TARDIS over there, and just to give you a preview, those are a little bit of the bigger episodes. They're little small portion bites of the episodes that we have out there. And plus, the Who Knew News will also be moving to the YouTube channel. Plus, you can check out all of our classic series. So go right now to the YouTube channel. Check it out. And, everybody go ahead and point there. And never mind. But then let's go ahead and get it started, folks. Thank you for joining us here at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Stand by, Whovians. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And begin because I am just silly like that. Let me try that again. For those of you just joining us, welcome to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And for those of you over on the Facebook pages, whether it be at Wizard World, whether you be on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS or on my personal page, please go now to the YouTube channel. Just subscribe over at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You can search for us by there or go by name, youtube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We are up to thank you for those of you who just subscribed to us. We are just moved up to 912, and we are just 88 subscribers away from our 1,000 goal. So please give us give it a like. Go right now, check it out. And we got our classic series out there. The Who Knew News will be moving exclusively to the YouTube channel. Those are our news that we're going to be doing in real time. When Doctor Who News drops, we'll be putting it on our live channel. We'll be putting it out there on the YouTube channel, as well as the bits of the TARDIS. So please go ahead and check it out. Hey there, folks. Welcome. We are going to be reviewing Big Finish, Stranded Part 1, and we're doing the two-parter today, which will be Must-See TV and Divine Intervention. I can't do this alone, so I got some friends who's going to help me out over here. I tried them so hard. I almost said to my bottom or beneath me, and I'm like, I don't want to say that. So somewhere somewhere down there is Mackenzie Floor with her friends. How you doing, Mackenzie? Welcome back.
Dig.
Directions. What are your directions? Just say in the square below mine.
In the square below mine. There you go. And even that sounded a little weird. How you doing, Mackenzie? Are you ready to do this do this review today?
I'm very excited about this review. Yes.
Gosh. Well, one of us is great. And we want to say, don't forget, if you want to chat with us on the Facebook page or YouTube channel, just type it in there. We'll read it off to you. If you would like what we see, we will put it out there. So Melanie shakes her head again. Thanks, Carl.
It's a drinking game. You'll have alcohol poisoning by the end of the show.
Exactly. Speaking of drinking games, hello, Dave. And I caught you right when you're drinking, too. How is it going, Dave?
Oh, no, that's intentional.
That was intentional?
Playing the game.
Okay.
It's just water and province.
Let's just see if he's still upright at the end of the show. How goes it, Dave? Are you excited to be reviewing Stranded 1, the last two parts?
Oh, yes, I am. I love me some audio drama.
You love you some audio drama?
I used to do it, right? I used to produce shows. So this is right in my, other than board games, this is right in my wheelhouse. So I love, cracking into something new and especially something award-winning like this.
Yes.
Thank you. And the lovely Melanie Dean, Pieces of Melanie.
What? Huh? What?
Lovely.
Hi, everyone.
Lovely.
We're doing this again. It's the second portion of our Stranded 1. Now, remember, Stranded, the box set it's going to be a series of 4 Stranded. So there's Stranded 1, Stranded 2, 3, 4. 3 and 4, I believe, are not even out yet. I know 4 definitely isn't. But because there are 4 episodes or dramas within this Stranded 1, we did this as a part 1, part 2, because I think the first 2 the part 1 we did the first 2 because they're like hour each. This particular one, Must See TV, I believe was only 30 minutes, and the second one, Divine Intervention, was a full hour. However, there was an extra little bit in there in Must See TV, which we can talk about when we start reviewing.
There you go. For those of you, just a reminder, if you haven't listened to Stranded as of yet, put this on hold, pause, come back later and watch this, because we will be spoiling the heck out of this. We will be talking about things in there. And welcome, Graham, and hi, Paul Conley. I don't think I've seen you here before, or maybe, a lot of people have come through here. Dalek Otto here. Okay.
Yes.
Dalek Otto. Paul Conley says, I'm back. How are you? We're doing okay. I just got off work. I'm literally just waking up right now. And Carlene, hello to all of you. Thank you for joining us here for the review. Paul Williams, thank you on the YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe.
Yes.
Would you like a Dalek to join?
Always.
I
live for adventure.
Yeah.
And danger.
Of course. That's not even a question there. And Dan Hallfield, okay, in the case, it's time for another beer.
Yep. I believe it's evening for Dan, so drink up, buddy. Cheers, mate.
So as we start off with our review, we're going to start off with we're going to give us our ratings, 10 TARDISes. 10 TARDISes being great, 1 TARDIS being awful, and then in between, the lowest number will go first. So we'll start with Melanie. Melanie, give me your rating on Must See TV, just Must See TV.
I'm going to give it, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to give it a 6.
6, gotcha.
6.
There.
I would almost give it a 7, only because of the second portion to it, but you're getting a 6.
Okay, no, I get you there. Dave,
we'll go 6.5. 6.5.
Okay, we're splitting the TARDIS in half as usual. Cutting the TARDIS in half. Dave, Must See TV.
I'm also giving it a 6.
You're also giving it a 6.
Yep.
You don't want to halvesies? You don't want to kick it out?
Not this time. Not this time.
Yet it is. Just popping in to say hello, Whovians. Yes, thank you so much for joining us over here. We're going to be going through Stranded 1, the last 2 parts of Stranded. Mackenzie.
Well, this is going to be a shocker, because I always say that I typically give things 10s. But we saw the last couple of times we've done reviews, I haven't done that. But I'm giving this a 9.
You're giving Must See TV a 9. Okay. All righty. Got it there. All right.
Mackenzie's the contrary one, not me this time.
Oh, man.
Got it there. So
I'm going second.
For Divine Intervention, Melanie, what would you rate Divine Intervention?
Divine Intervention, I will give that one a 9.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Bit of a jump down there. All right. Dave, what would you give Divine Intervention?
Now I'll take that half a TARDIS, and I'm going to give it a 7.5.
7.5. Okay. There we go. Mackenzie.
Well, I gave it a perfect.
You went to 10.
I went to 10.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh, girl.
We're going to definitely talk about that.
Probably because of my screenplay background. That's probably why.
Okay. We'll get in all to the explanations and everything as we move along out there. And don't forget, keep chatting away if you have any questions, you want to talk to us. Again, we're going to be reviewing Big Finishes the second part of Stranded 1, which includes Must See TV and Divine Intervention. So the lowest score going to Dave on Must See TV. Dave, you gave it a 6. What happened?
I did. Big caveat to this.
Okay.
I think this would have been a great episode at episode 1 of Stranded 2. This as a standalone episode, I did not like it. It's a lot of setup. All this is setup.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and it's also why it was a shorter episode. But just on its own, and we'll get into this with the next one, it doesn't, not a lot of that carries through. Some of it carries through to the next one, but a lot of it's setting up for like for Stranded 2 or 3. I would have liked to have seen something that ties in a little bit more to the old feeling, the feeling of the first couple, a little bit more earthbound for just a little bit longer.
Gotcha. All right. So you wanted more. I'll give my judgment on the end of that one there. Mackenzie, Melanie, 6.5. Just knocked it up by just half. Melanie, why did you give it 6.5?
I will say for the same reasons as Dave. I felt that the half an hour runtime was just, I wanted more. So therefore I felt unfulfilled from a full story. The character of Mr. Bird, I thought was, at first I was like, okay, well, he moved in and we start the story where you already know your tenants from the first 2 episodes. And so we now hear about Mr. Bird moving in, but it's kind of jumped in where he's moved in like a week ago. So we've already heard that he's Mr. Fix-It. He's already kind of indoctrinated himself into, the household of the flat, of the flats and everyone living within it, and that everybody loves him. But we're just kind of told this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, well, for me, that makes sense if you need to shorten something down. We need to, give that little exposition in the beginning because we're going to put a lot of meat here. And we didn't have that meat. I mean, we really are. There was a lot more of the whodunit of, where is he? What's the scorch marks on the carpet? Oh, he's got a vortex manipulator or some other type of time travel, kind of stuff. Okay, that's great. So I'm thinking we were told his story and all that kind of stuff in the beginning because we're going to get all this extra, action and all this other stuff. And by the time he's like, at the very end with the message of "I'm watching you," I was like, that's it. I wanted a little bit more. I was happy that the doctor's like, oh, I get to actually do stuff, and he was more excited. But then bleh. The reason I gave it 6.5, and I was in the beginning kind of maybe even giving it a 7-ish, is because in this, to make up that time, we had a music suite. It was like a half an hour worth of just beautifully composed music that, I was working on the mural. And so I was listening to it and I'm like, oh, wow, this is wonderful. I could just keep working to this. And this is something that this section of music, I would love to just be able to rip that out and put it into a playlist. It was really, really lovely. So that's why I pushed it up to 6.5, but it was just, I wanted more. I need more. Come on, people, I want more. But it really feels like this, like to Dave's point, we're gonna see Mr. Bird probably in Stranded 2, maybe in 3. He's gonna play a bigger role, clearly. But for me, for the half hour, I was like, I wanted more. I wanted more.
Gotcha. There. Speaking of wanting more,
it's a little late to say this now, but spoilers.
There's spoilers in this, but he already kind of told you that.
I mentioned the spoiler thing earlier.
It makes sense that if you purchased this box set, you don't have to worry that you're going out and buying just must-see TV. You can't do that. You're getting all these 4. So it's nestled in there in the middle. It's kind of just filler, in my opinion. But the music suite does help that out. So you're still getting the value for it. I want more. Damn it.
Speaking of wanting more, Mackenzie, you did give it more. You gave it a 9. Tell us where. Oh.
So he takes her out?
Yeah. So what's wrong with you? You have to leave now.
How dare you?
Mackenzie, you gave it a 9. Why did you give it a 9? What was so good about it? And where did it miss the marker?
I looked at it in a completely different perspective than the other 2, so that's probably why I enjoyed it more. I looked at it, instead of it being by itself, I looked at it as the big picture. So for me as a screenwriter, one thing that is necessary is the mystery. And Dr. Bird or Mr. Bird there, he pretty much fit that persona. We didn't really know too much, but there was a lot of telling in this episode. I do have to say that in regards to that. However, it was intriguing. I was very intrigued by seeing the doctor being able to be the doctor again, tearing apart these TVs, saying, well, okay, there's something going on here. They, at one point, I believe it's Helen and the doctor see a version of themselves in the future. So it's like, okay, there's some type of paradox, something going on here. And so that's what I liked about it, is that it kept me going, wanting to know more what's going on here. almost like if that had been in front of the previous episode, I think the box set itself might have even been done better, because that previous episode I really didn't like. And I feel that maybe the order would have been different and would have come across differently. But that's what I liked about it.
And that's kind of why I was saying it would, you know, as a first episode of like 2.
You're right.
That like it would have maybe worked better. So it's a similar sort of a thought process there.
Yeah.
Does anybody care to know what I rated it and what I thought of it? No,
because we're gonna
not
do
really.
commercial.
You never tell us anyway, so you know.
You're going to
That's
commercial.
true.
So just
Of course, because they know when
You know how
we
this
return
works.
to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, I will give you my rating and my take on must-see TV. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend.
What's the Bait Man?
A novel set in Florida. Written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense. Mystery. And murder.
Evidence in the bait.
The Bait Man is available at local bookstores and online.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today. Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
CKOEPP.com today. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, on Twitch, on our Facebook pages, don't thank us, thank our friends over at geekinsider.com. Don't forget to subscribe over there at geekinsider.com.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. I am the host of this show, and we are reviewing, for those of you who are just joining us, spoilers. If you have not heard Stranded Part 1, we are doing the last 2 parts of the series in the Stranded Part 1 segment, which are Must See TV and Divine Intervention. My name is Christian Basil, and here are my friends to help us out review that episode, and my turn to kind of give an idea of how this went. Yeah,
so
I gave
Christian,
it a,
what's your rating for Must See TV?
I gave it a 6 as well. A very solid 6.
And how
and
about the other one?
The other one? Not yet.
Or you're not going to do it? Oh,
not yet. We'll do when we get
that's
there.
for both of them. Oh, when we get there.
Oh, when we get there. So
why did you rate it a 6, Christian?
I rated it a 6 because one of the funny things, as I mentioned, as Dave knows all too well, I was listening to it, and all of a sudden it was Mr. Bird going, "I see you," and then the episode ended. And then I looked down at my my phone, and there was still 30 minutes left. And they started doing the interviews and discussions. I'm just like, ah. I felt so gypped with Must See TV. There was a lot of potential. There was a lot of lead up, and I was like, this is cool about whatever is going on with this Mr. Bird, And it was just now, yeah, Melanie. I also listened to some of the music. It's gorgeous, beautiful music that was going on at the end. So I didn't feel too gypped, but as far as story wise was concerned, I literally went back and like listened to the whole thing again. It's like maybe it didn't download right. Maybe I'm supposed to be listening to something else, or I've got it in the wrong order, or something's going on. But Must See TV, I don't want to say I felt gypped, but it did feel like it was in an island on a map that it didn't belong on. It just felt like it was there. It was just its own one-off story that kind of didn't even connect, with the exception of, and when we go into the divine intervention, there is, there is word dropping. I still don't know how this connects into everything. It's a nice little story to kind of add into the soap opera, and I've been dubbing this a soap opera drama that is, Stranded, but it was like, you cut it off there. I needed more. You wanted more.
Well,
I needed more.
I thought it was a cliffhanger, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, because I did the same thing. I'm looking on my app going, wait, what? I'm like, okay, they did a cliffhanger. I'm not used to that with Big Finish. Okay, cool. Of what I've listened to. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I didn't hear it in the next one. Or it was like just that name. I'm like,
well, did you guys do what I do? I fast forward. I heard the interview. I started hearing the interviews. I'm like, okay, maybe it's after the interviews. Maybe they put the interviews in the middle, and then, like you said, it was a cliffhanger. So I fast forwarded, and then I just started hearing the music, and I was like, it's somewhere in here. You know how Big Finish throws some Easter eggs in the middle of the audios at times. It's like, I must be missing something. So I literally went back, listened again. The thing, well, okay, maybe there is something I completely missed. No, it was only a half hour long. It went into the interviews and discussions with the cast and crew, and then the music played, and I was just like, okay, I guess is it. It was a very half of an appetizer to a meal that I'm like, I felt gypped. I'm sorry. I know that's what it was meant, but just to rate this on its own, it felt like I was getting gypped.
No, I liked what Lisa McMullin wrote. I thought it was intriguing with the characters of, like, again with Mr. Bird, and that's just how they she dropped little breadcrumbs of what this burn in the carpet was, and how only the doctor would look down and go, I know what that is. But it looks familiar, and it's and then later on, and then when we do the next one, I'm thinking it's the same thing, but it wasn't the same exact piece of technology that's used by the bad guys in the fourth one. So that's when I went, well, then it's, I guess because at first, I thought maybe it was a cliffhanger and that we're going to keep getting more and more and more into the next one. So I was kind of listening for it in Divine Intervention, and I realized, no, it's not. It's except maybe a couple throwaway lines of them, even them pondering, is Mr. Bird connected to these guys? And they're kind of at this moment saying no, but that can change. I mean, we still have 3 more box sets to go. But yes, I wanted more. Mackenzie, tell me more. What really got you thinking that this is absolutely not? Can you fill in the gaps of what we're missing?
I think it's just that I was thinking on big picture. I thought of it as in all 4 of them together, though not at that point. I hadn't heard the 4th one yet, and I skipped over all the music, all the interview stuff. I didn't even bother with any of that. I just listened for the story itself. And yet there was at one point, I do admit that there was at one point, I did rewind it because I thought, I like Christian, where I thought maybe something had misdownloaded, or I wasn't paying attention at the same time because somebody was saying something in the background. So I thought I missed something, so I had returned it back. But no, I was more thinking of it as the framework itself. And that's what this episode really had for me, is that it did have that framework where it built on and still kept that intriguing. But again, it should have been I think it would have done better even if it had been in a different place, because it really felt like the basic framework just being executed. And after the first episode, I mean, yeah, I was interested. The second one, I was like, I hope this gets better.
you know what, Mackenzie, because I think you said the key word there. You were looking at the big picture, and we were looking at the individual episode. Yeah. Do you know what I think about this episode? And correct me if I'm wrong, even on this one, Dave. you know how Big Finish gives free episodes away, like the first part of the episode, so that entices you to get the rest of it. That I think would have been the teaser to if this were the first episode of Stranded by some odd chance. That would be something that would have brought me into go on more with Stranded, especially the very end where he's going like, I watch, I was like, now I got to know what this is all about, what everything is. But to equate it with the other 3 episodes that are hour long, I did feel like I had to go like, what the heck? There were some brilliant lines in there, and I forgot the kid's name, and I apologize, but
Robin.
Robin. Thank you, Robin. When he and the doctor are talking, some of the lines I thought were just brilliant. I wrote them down. People are all that matter in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. He's having this heart-to-heart discussion with Robin. Make your own future. I forgot if it was in I think it was in this episode where he hands Robin a bunch of newspapers, and Robin starts to read them and goes, no, take a look here, which I thought was kind of odd because they didn't have any power or anything, so he had to read some newspapers. He goes, here, find something that you don't like and go out and fix it, which I thought
that's just a setup for the next episode.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If this was like the one episode, the teaser to get you into Stranded, this would have been it. This would have been cool.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of great stuff. There was a lot of great dialogue, and the acting was just superb. It harkens back to what the first 2 episodes are reviewed, but it still was a half of an appetizer. That it was like, I wanted more, and I was like, nope. There are the interviews. There's the music. So, okay.
I love the big picture. I love playing the long game. I love sitting there and a serialized big thing.
You're right.
Love it. But as of right now, this is a 4-episode box set. So even if I look at it, that is the big picture. Yes, there's going to be a bigger picture, but that's the big picture. And I still wouldn't have given it any higher than I did in context of this box
of
set.
These 4.
I am quite certain that opinion will change as time goes on and as more of these releases come out.
And possibly that Stranded 2 might give us more answers to these questions, but right now it's more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to use this term, but I didn't want it to be a Moffat plot hole, because we have all these plot holes out there, and I'm just like, when are we going to start reeling things in?
Sorry.
I
think I made a few people happy. But there were just so many plot holes, and just when you think there's a resolution, there's another one and another, and there's one with which we'll get into the next episode, which I'm like, oh, well, where did this come from? So it's kind of like a soap opera in the case that there's one episode here that's things are going on, and then all of a sudden it goes to the next episode. So like the first episode will be like, here's this one story. The second episode will be this second story that's disconnected somehow. And then
it feels like it's a prologue to something else. But
exactly.
Why is it here?
I thank you. Yeah, perfect analogy. I was like, I need more. One of the things I love, like I said, the writing was brilliant. One of the things I wrote down, the doctor says to Robin, "Hey, Russell, board is just a blank page. You can write an adventure." I love that. He was just spouting out these brilliant lines. And I love it when Paul says it's just like he's like being dad to Robin in this essence, because Robin cannot have his dad. So he's kind of latching on to the doctor, and the doctor's giving him all this advice, but the doctor's crazy dad. So,
and this episode, I think, really kind of started showing how much Robin was looking up to the doctor, which we saw more in the next in Divine Intervention on him really looking up to the doctor as someone as a figure of inspiration. And because of the very, I mean, guys, this is the very, very, very beginning is these little the talks between Robin and the doctors. I mean, it's quick too. It's like all the things you're saying, Christian. It was literally within the span of like 3 minutes of all the stuff that he's sitting down and talking to him.
That's why I argued this is a great teaser to bring people into Stranded. If this was going to be that one episode out there. And I mentioned that Tanya says the T word. Russell, I just dropped in to make sure Christian survived the title of the show, The Big Fish.
No, he's still around. We can't get rid of him. We've tried.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
We almost did last episode for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Just drop back.
Drop back. He came back.
I think I wanted more on Mr. Bird.
I get more out of that. I really do, especially with what happened with the next episode.
Exactly. There was so much potential.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing about that's what this box set felt to me to be a perfect example. If this was a screenplay, this would be the perfect framework for the BW framework, which is open loops. So you constantly raise the adjective. So this happens, something else happens, and keeps the intrigue going. And all these questions, you have more questions than solutions. And that's what's happening.
I did think it funny when they realized that all the flats came pre-furnished. So all the TVs had that device inside of them. So again, this is all spoilers, people. So I'm just, I know if you don't know this, if you haven't watched, go or listen, go away. But when they realized that, okay, the flat's been furnished, who furnished it? Was it Torchwood that furnished the entire place? So Torchwood put those TVs with the little boxes inside of it. But so that was one piece I thought was funny. So because clearly everything's bugged. They bugged Robin. Oh, what's her name? Oh, Rebecca Roots. What's her character's name?
Tanya.
Thank you. They bugged her place, and which it's Torchwood because we know she's working with Torchwood. Which I love that they brought Andy more in this one, which we see more of Andy. Which we're seeing more Andy, which is neat to see a Torchwood person kind of be a companion-ish with the Doctor, definitely in the next one. But they took all the TVs and they threw them off on a skiff to be thrown away. And someone at first I was worried that someone was going to steal the televisions because technically they still worked. But it ended up being that more people were just throwing they went, oh, look, empty garbage can. Let's go ahead and let's throw a couch on there and all that kind of fun stuff. So there was a lot of this stuff written in there that gave you that spice of life and that they're definitely within the world of London and all those other kind of little baby nuances of things that you have to deal with. But again, 38 minutes. It was short.
It was 30. Yeah, it was under 40.
Something.
It's
Yeah,
under 40.
it's under 40.
I don't even mind that. Honestly, I don't even mind the length. It would. That's fine. Again, I think it's like Mackenzie had. Just the placement within the series feels off for it. I don't even the length itself. If in a different context, whatever. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but it's a four-course meal. You're getting a big plate of appetizer. You're getting a big plate of portion meal, and then you get this bowl of salad in the middle of all. It's not a bad salad. It's just I thought this comes at the beginning. Why is this even in the middle?
One goofy thing that I had before we go to commercial on this.
Yeah,
it was with Robin. He has this conversation on the stairs. I had a giant Muppet moment. all I had was Robin singing halfway up down the stairs in the back of my head. That entire screen.
I do like that Andy is getting his rise. I know he's had his own big finish, a couple of big finish episodes in the Torchwood series, but to hear him actually get fleshed out was nice. And I think I'm getting a little bit ahead because we're going to start seeing the relationship with Tanya and Andy, which is fun. I thought that was kind of the fun of the two of them getting together out there. Yeah, Tanya mentions Torchwood, and I was like, oh, okay, now we get it. That's why she's. And I'm like, we are going to. What was it? What was the line? We're going to save the Doctor at all costs. And I think Andy was like, what? It's like, no, I'm not in for this. All right. Well, as Dave said, we are going to commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion. We're going to move over to Divine Intervention. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, become part of the legend. Here we go.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
unleashing hunters into the ruined wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal
Wonder and Adventure
in the Scion series,
by Michael J. Allen.
beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
The beta testing of that is going to be starting soon for Doctor Who Worlds Apart. Don't forget to tell them that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. It's spelled Doctor Who -worldsapart.com. Go over there, check out their website. It is awesome. Just by visiting on a daily basis, you can actually get points to get cards. And they're on sale right now. They have some really good rate of. They've got their marketplace open. So if you find the good card, like Mackenzie did, just not fair. She's still bragging about it to this day. And plus, we'll be playing the game live soon as we get to the beta testing for Doctor Who Worlds Apart here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And who's not to say we might be unpacking some more cards along the way. I'm talking to you, Nisha. We're gonna get you. This I got 7 legendary sitting there. That 10-pack. So
I got some sitting there, not open. I'm waiting.
I know.
That was cheaper than the other one.
There you go.
I have to throw this up. It's completely. I was this old when I realized. Oh, I'm really close to my mic. That 30 years old when it finally struck me that Elon Musk looks like a super rich, unsexy John Barrowman.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see it.
This is
Hang on, we'll make it so that the audience can see that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just dropped it into our Facebook chat there, so you can.
Oh, okay. Sorry for our friends on the audio show, listening to the audio. Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Bays. I'm here with Melanie Dean, Mackenzie Floor, and Dave from the rathole.ca. We are continuing our discussion about Stranded Part 1, the final two episodes of Part 1, which are must-see TV, and now we're going to do Divine Intervention. Dave. Now we have to see it on TV. He does.
There you go.
It is kind of.
It's a similar photo too, and the similar kind of the collar open, the long, the lapels. Yeah. No.
The swoopy hair.
He does look something. He looks like he could be the brother of John Barrowman, who just happened to be playing with the laundry cleaner and just too much over there. But that's my take on this. Anyway, Dave, you gave it the lowest score, which is 7.5. Could you tell us a little bit about why you gave it that score? What did it miss? What did it hit?
I think it had a lot of positives, and maybe by the end of the show, I'll even up that. But a lot of it was partly bad taste coming out of must-see TV. Going, missing everything. What?
Yeah.
So there was that. It was a lot of little things. Tanya in Must See TV has a conversation with the doctor. It's like, who are you? I'm a friend. Just leave it at that. I'm a friend. I think you are. She clearly knows who the doctor is. She knows what's going on. She's Torchwood. She knows there's aliens. And then he ends up in her kitchen, of all places. Just he wanders in, starts making a sandwich in her kitchen. Whose kitchen am I in? Mine. Oh. But he's muttering about Daleks and Cybermen.
He got a fight with Liv or Helen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I could cut in just real fast, I just reminded of that scene in Fear Her where the 10th Doctor is sitting there just eating peanut butter out of the peanut butter jar with his fingers, and Rose just gives him the stare. I'm like, you're being rude again. It's in one stare, he's going like, oh, I get it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to bring that up because that's what it reminded me of.
It's totally a Doctor thing to have done. But he's muttering about the Daleks and the TARDIS and Cybermen, and she's like, Daleks? Cybermen? You're Torchwood. You're here dumb because you know who the Doctor is. No.
She's playing dumb.
She didn't seem like she was playing dumb. Right. That seems like she just didn't have a clue. Maybe she is.
Oh, I thought she was absolutely playing dumb. It's 2020.
I don't know. Yeah. And it's possible. It felt more like it was just given she had already had the conversation of clearly she knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then playing that dumb just seemed off to me.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Mel.
I think playing dumb would have been more. No, go ahead, Dick. Go ahead, Christian. Because I'm gonna end up just.
I don't think of playing dumb because I think, and the best I can say on this one is like a tell in poker, because it was the same thing with Andy when the Doctor hangs around with Andy and they're interacting with each other, and he goes, for somebody who this doesn't bother you what's happening to you right now, and he goes, oh yeah, so
Star Trek,
yeah, that was the excuse for Star Trek.
And even the Doctor's kind of cottoning on with, so I'm an alien? What? You're an alien? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was just you just accepted it, and the Doctor's going like, oh, you're just accepting it, and then Star Trek was the excuse. I was just like, okay, whatever. So
that I certainly loved. Andy is growing into something great. I'm not. Nerd card may have to be turned over. I've never watched Torchwood. I know almost nothing. I know it exists. I know the premise of it. It came out. It was basically done before I really got back into Doctor Who. So, and it's just, I've never had the chance to go back and pick it up. I do want to do that. I just haven't yet. And I keep meaning to. So I didn't know who he was in that context until the interview section where they point out, oh yeah, I played this part on TV. And then they brought him back. And then I kind of like, did I hear that right? Wikipedia. Andy has done a lot.
Yes,
because they brought him back for, let's see,
RTD used
BBC
him.
Audiobook. Yeah, BBC Audiobook. BBC Radio 4 did some audio dramas with it. And he's done a bunch of readings of audiobooks from Torchwood.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not realize that, and that's incredibly awesome.
It was the Harry Potter Doctor Who syndrome. If you worked at Harry Potter or Doctor Who, you would eventually end up on the other show somewhere along the way. You actually had work for at least 10 years because you would end up somewhere along the way between the two. So I do like that they recycle, for a better term. They recycle that. They just go like, oh, okay, you're one and done. No, they bring him back, and yeah, Andy is
on point.
Yeah, they fleshed him out and made him very good. So I was just like, yeah, this is kind of stuff I like, where the hidden gems become something. I missed out on Torchwood too. Okay,
we got to figure out how to do watch parties legally, because we got to do this.
Well, the thing is, but I feel for you, Dave, because you know what? I know nothing about Liv and Helen. And if you look, I did some research. Well, I knew about them, but I'd never heard any audios. I haven't heard Ravenous. I haven't heard the Dark Eyes. which I think Liv comes from. I think that's where she's in the later series. I only saw Dark Eyes 1 with Molly O'Sullivan. I love her character. But when I went and researched Liv just to find out her background, so I could have a little bit of understanding up until this point, her page went completely off. She's been like in this, she's been in Ravenous, she's been in Dark Eyes, she's been in this episode. I was like, holy cow. I mean, she's already been developed, and that was the hard part about this, to try to pick up Liv and Helen in the Eighth Doctor's world when they've already had all this history behind them and try to catch up. So that's, I guess, for people who are coming into Stranded who don't know them, it's kind of, oh, these are new characters. But for people who have been with them since all the way back then, this is kind of like, oh, this is great. This is a character development. So,
and they have done a pretty good job of trying to find that line for those people. Like I did mention that I felt a little bit lost on the first episode because of that. But eventually you just get to a point where, nope, this is Doctor Who. These are his companions right now. And, they drop little bits here and there and the puzzle comes together.
Yep.
I just want to address this comment. From the desk of a small press publisher. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was out of it for a while there, but thank you. You guys check out From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. Thank you for letting me for checking up on me out there. Yeah. So that was Dave. Melanie hit it up with a 9.
Yeah,
not necessarily perfect, but it was high up on the food chain.
And what did Mackenzie give it?
Well, if you got a 9, she gave it a 10.
Did she?
She did.
I did.
She gave it a perfect score.
For some reason, I thought the perfect score was the other one. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
No, she gave it a much lower score.
I like this one better than last one.
So for this one, which I thought was absolutely stellar, Torchwood is a masterclass in backpedaling. They are just so good at going, what? Who? I don't know what you're talking about. With Andy playing, I mean, the whole idea of playing dumb. And I think it was just them playing to be a little different than Dave. I think that they were playing dumb because they know, that's what they do. I mean, Tanya has been a Torchwood op and has been at this apartment or these flats for Lord knows how long, waiting for the Doctor. So Torchwood knows that the Doctor owns the flats and that at some point the Doctor's showing back up. So we need to put somebody in here undercover and waiting. So she was already there. She's been undercover. So she's going to keep working, undercover. So when the Doctor, he ends up having, he has the argument with Helen, and the first part of it was at the game show. And I'm like, wait, what the heck's going on? And he's just like, it's funny how he does a little callback to the Fifth Doctor on it. Yeah. Because one of the questions has to do with cricket. And he's like, oh, I know this. And he starts describing about fair hair and celery and what was this? I could see it. So he answers the question. Well, he answers the question well, and he ends up winning 80,000 pounds, which is great now because here the first 3 episodes we've kind of had this. How are these 3 people getting by without a TARDIS? Without money and jobs. And in the second episode, unfortunately, Liv got shot, and trying to make money and with the job and all that kind of fun stuff. So at least now that you no longer have to have that weird thing of, hey, you're in the real world, you do still need to pay things. You can't just kind of foist it off with TV and say, hey, you got the sonic screwdriver, you got the credit stick, and you're good to go. So now they figured out a way of, okay, they've got money. I thought and this to me felt like an episode that had more comedy. It was more balanced in that it had the comedy of that. It had the comedy of him going, okay, well, we won last week, so I'll come back on next week. And what we'll do is I'll just keep winning. And then I'm going to buy some tech companies. And then those tech companies are all going to divert their energy into fixing the TARDIS, right? That's what we're going to do. And it was Liv and Helen to go, they're not going to let you back on. And bless the fool of the Doctor, be like, not even understanding. Why wouldn't they let me come back on and just keep winning money?
I was so good at it. They're like, that's not the point. No, that's all the point.
They're like, no.
They're not going to let you break the bank, Doctor. It's not. It's not Jeopardy. Come back next week.
Because he is so laser focused on fixing the TARDIS, which makes sense. It's the freaking Doctor. He wants the TARDIS back running, so he's not stranded. He's no longer having carpets and mortgages. He's just nope. I got to go aliens and save the world. I can't do this. And that's what kind of one of the arguments kind of pushes him to go over Tanya's house, because he's like, I can't do this, and fix things up and make things and take people's. I don't understand. I talk to people, and he's like, I mean, this old toast and the mold in this jam jar. Whose is this anyway? And the whole time, I mean, he's going off and going, I'm better with Daleks and Cybermen, and that's where Tanya's just kind of like, yeah. And you could hear in the background, you could realize that it's not. He's left the room. Yeah. He's clearly barged into her apartment, and it's just making himself a sandwich. And she's like, what are those? What? Sorry, cyber? What? And he's like, oh, never mind. When he finally comes to his brain and realizes where he is, and he's like, oh, never mind. I'm just rambling. And you could tell she knows who he is, but she's just kind of, I think she's smart enough to realize he's rambling and clearly mad. Hence why she makes the comment later on to Andy that, hey, we need to keep an eye on him because he's starting to, unfurl a little bit, and a Doctor who's unfurled is not a good thing. So I think that was also why she just kind of really kept it in and didn't keep kind of poking the bear to kind of go, well, what's that? And to make him feel like, oh God, I've said, too much. But yeah, it's a great, lighthearted, I think, funny episode because you have those parts, but then guess what? There's aliens. There's freaking aliens. The Doctor, he even says this at one point, he knows how to deal with this. He gets to save the world.
He has to have a reason. If you don't give him a reason, he blows up. And
he feels like he's in his element. He's happy. So this whole, there was more action, kind of wrapping up. There was action, lots of fun things. Robin is starting to become more of a character. All of them really, it felt like a good ensemble piece. Even down to Ikea saying, oh, Robin doesn't like the fact that, he's all grumpy at dinner. Just feed him ice cream. He's a child. He's not a kid. And the sister having saying, you don't know. That's not how. He's a teenager. Just feeding him ice cream is not going to fix it. So you have all these little fun little pieces and the action, and I can keep going on and on, but
no, that's right. We're going to be getting to a commercial break real fast, but Mackenzie, I want to bring you on. I get the feeling, I'm just throwing this in here. First of all, Kevin Reese, I haven't acknowledged on the show lately, but I want to. Kevin Reese does the Husbands Talking More or Less podcast. He's been doing the thumbnails for the show, so thank you so much, Kevin. I just want to respond because he sent me a PM that says he doesn't even look like he's more rich. He just looks more awful. So I think he's referring to the picture. He's referring to the picture of John and Elon. But Mackenzie, yeah, you gave it a 10. Hit us up. Why did you give it a 10?
Well, this is another one of those episodes that honestly it could have fit into certain portions of it, could have fit in other areas or done similar things, like what both Dave and Melanie loved was the humor in it, which I loved that too. Especially with the game show at the beginning, it was like kind of like a call to number 11, or excuse me, number 9, even knowing number 9 doesn't exist yet, but it's still with that game show. I love that aspect of it. A lot of the episode at the beginning had what is in screenplay terms is called Pope in the Pool, which is literally, it's an analogy to somebody is giving the Pope all instructions about what's going on in the Catholic Church, and the Pope is swimming. So it's very humorous type of thing. So I loved how it pulled everything together. The thing that really got me was by the end of it, where it was like, oh my God, I gotta watch. I gotta just listen to the next thing. I've got to. And that's for me when it pulled me and say, oh, absolutely not. There's some big finishes that I really enjoyed, but have I picked them up the next one? No, I mean, I haven't. And it doesn't have to do with finances or interest. This one is like, oh, I must listen to the next portion of it. And it's because we learn about this paradox and the bad guys that came in, and Duplexia, I think is what they're called or something, or that was what the name of one of them. And then Rolling or something. I forget what they were called now.
I love the fact that they were actually, and the phrase was termed, it wasn't a gunfire and explosion, energy weapons were shot.
Yeah.
So it was like, we know the terminology. I'm going to cut it short. I just want to run these two commercials. When we return, we're going to finish off. Mackenzie, any final thoughts? And I will give my take on it. When we return, please continue to stay long, don't tune in, and become part of the love.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Out Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
And we want to wish today is Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor's 70th birthday. So we all want to wish Peter Davison, happy birthday out there. Happy birthday, Peter. Thank you so much. Many years to come. This is a picture of the Traveling TARDIS, and a lot of people have criticized it only because of the TARDIS. They're going like, it's blue and it looks like it needs to be repainted. This is during the time when the paint started falling off, and then we just decided to remove all the paint, and now it is the way it is. Somebody actually consider it pewter now. So just to wrap things up, Mackenzie, did you have any final thoughts? And then I'll just throw my 2 cents in at the end.
I can't wait to listen to the next one. Honestly, it had all the elements I was looking for in that very last one. As a whole, I wish that the whole thing had gone that way, because would I rate the whole box at a 9? Absolutely not. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Well, we'll be definitely doing Stranded 2. It's already dropped out there, and we will be later on after we get a chance to review it and such. We got a lot of things coming up over here, so Stranded 2 will be waiting just a little bit, but not too far off. I gave it a 7.5, which is consistent about across the board for the same reasons over and over again. It's a soap opera now that doesn't answer a lot of questions. It throws out a lot of things. It throws out a lot of it throws out sugar-free candy, for a better term. It just throws that out there. It tastes great, but it doesn't really fill you up on things. But there's a lot of potential. I know they're leading it over to for the next volumes of Stranded that are going to be coming out. One of the things I wrote down was Minority Report. I thought that it was just really strange. It was another episode that just kind of was off to the side. Mr. Bird gets a name drop, and nothing really cohesive about it. I thought it was cool. I'm still sitting there going like, where's the curator? I want Tom back. Why is Tom only in here for about 5 minutes at the very beginning? Why is he around? What's going on? I think I just wanted a lot more explanations. I wanted something to like give it a little more closure, but it looked like they were trying to put out a lot more stuff so that you would go to Stranded 2 to see what's going on. Who is Mr. Bird? What is this about the curator? Is he ever going to fix the TARDIS? At least now, spoilers.
What did the Doctor do to the Rakillians for them to go back 2,000 years and want to murder him?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden we have that little, what was it called? When they kill him? The
Paradox?
Paradox, thank you. The little
paradox of
that
him getting shot.
Yeah, I think we
murdered.
saved the Doctor, but
in the TARDIS.
And it gave the TARDIS a little bit of life back, but I guess all this is going to be going over into Stranded 2.
Yep.
I'm hoping there's some questions answered. I'm going to ask this question. Do you think Liv is going to leave? Do you think that's what they're planning out for Liv to leave? Or do you think that there might be something else going on? Because nobody can have a relationship with anybody with Torchwood and be happy, from what I understand.
I'm not going to even attempt and pontificate. Nope, we got 3 more box sets.
Exactly.
Nope.
We got
until at least 3.
Nope.
We got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
I don't know.
So, any last thoughts before we end the show, folks? We have come to the end of the audio version of our show. So, anybody have any final thoughts they want to make?
I would quickly ask everybody if you could rank 1, 2, 3, 4. What was your best one? What's your worst one of this box set?
1.
So for me, the 1, I would even say the first episode is my favorite one. So that would be Lost Property is my favorite one. Divine Intervention is my second favorite, which is the one we're doing now. Wild Animals, must see TV. So what would everybody else go with?
Same
2, 1, 4, 3.
I would do 4, 1, 3, 2.
4, 1, 3, 2. Okay. I do the same with you, Melanie. 1, 4, 2, 3.
Yeah. So it's a really good box set to listen to because you can see it depending on however, whatever floats your boat and everything. Everybody liked it. It was a little bit of everything for everyone.
Exactly there. We are at the end of the show there, folks. For those of you who just joined us, thank you so much. We're going to continue in the after party for more discussion. If you have any questions, if you hadn't had a chance to ask us, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Or if you can't find us, a few people said they actually had to type in The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS to find us. So if you do it by word search, that is great out there. Don't forget Doctor Who Worlds Apart. Get your cards right now and visit the site every day so that you can get a little bit more. You can get some cards out of it out there. And if you want to become a sponsor, a family of our sponsors, advertise with us here. Email Sage at hangingwithshow, spelled HANGIN, with show.com, or Krishna and myself will get you the rates and everything out there. That is it for this episode. We're going to continue on for the after party. Thank you, Carl. Good show. I really need to get into Big Finish. It's kind of like Funko Pops. Once you start, there will be no end in sight there. Yeah. Everybody take care. And a special announcement, I guess I can safely say this. Next week's guest, Yi-Ji Cho, Chang Li from the TV movie, as we enter into our series of the 25th anniversary of the TV movie, The Enemy Within, that starred Paul McGann as the Doctor. Thank you for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend for our friends on the audio. For those of you who are still watching, please continue to watch. We're going to have some fun. That is so attractive, Melanie.
We're still going. I can't just talk like a bag of chips.
What is that?
I just love the first commercial break. It's like you were frozen there. Waiting for the inevitable hiccup between commercials.
Eat. A whole bag of organic chips. Go. Down the gullet there.
Just a reminder for everybody who is still watching about Yi-Ji. We did just the other day put up the bits of the TARDIS. So some highlights from our first interview with Yi-Ji back almost a year ago, actually.
Yeah, isn't that scary? It was just a year ago.
It's just over a year ago.
And he's coming back out there.
Yeah.
And we got a little surprise for everybody. I'll go ahead and pull it up. We're going to show the trailer for Stranded 2. Hang tight. Let me get rid of that. Let me share my screen. Let me figure out how to do this.
And
share audio.
We're shaking their head at Christian. Shots.
Shut it. And let us play.
Drink.
Is the audio going?
TARDIS, and I will go.
What do you know about Unit, miss?
The Doctor used to work for them. He's always been a bit cagey.
Audio at all?
What does he actually say?
About
us being stranded.
What have you brought? We could be going anywhere in time and space, not camping in Epping Forest.
What is that thing exactly?
Sort of a screwdriver. It's a gimmick, really. We were expecting a prisoner.
Don't worry about it, Brigadier. There'll be another alien invasion along shortly.
I'm a bit old for being silly.
And how old do you think I am?
Wow.
Don't answer that.
Well, we don't need to listen. There's the line of the whole thing. Don't answer that.
How old do you think I am? I know. The answer is going to be the Omega. Whatever's the very end, that's who he is.
I didn't even get to hear the audio for that time. It was completely. I could hear you three, but I couldn't hear it. It
that
does
happens every time we
that's fine.
share.
I just want to make sure it got through.
Yeah, if you share through this through StreamYard, the person who's sharing usually you can't hear it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's not going to be fun. I want to also thank the 4 people who joined us on the YouTube channel. We just went up to 916. Hey, if you can get us to the goal by the end of the show, that'd be great. Hey,
yay! Bam.
Here we go.
But yeah, personally, I thought the divine intervention. One thing I didn't even bring up is that there was an Easter. There was like a little foreshadowing within it. Is here. Robin and Liv are walking around, and at one point, it's such a. If you live in the Clearwater area, you are used to seeing Scientology tents that have free personality test, and there's a lot of people who are extremely outgoing. They want to talk to people and take our test, and they're trying to just spread their word. So for me, I'm very used to walking, politely saying thanks, but no thanks, blah, blah, blah. But so for me, this in Divine Intervention, Robin and Liv are walking by or was it Helen? I'm sorry, it was Helen. They're walking by and somebody, Raphael, she ends up saying, hi, Robin, you're exactly who we're looking for, blah, 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 blah. And she's just saying every piece of my marketing brain going, she's saying so much, but literally nothing. It is the most boilerplate stuff coming out of her mouth of, you're exactly what we're looking for. We want people who have intuition. They're going to do great things. And even Robin's like, I know what she's saying. It's marketing. It means nothing, but I just want to see what it's about. And you could see that, getting hooked by this. And he takes their quiz, and it's really just a personality test and blah, 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 blah. So finally Helen's able to go, Robin, we're leaving. And the place is called Divine Intervention. And at the very, very end, with the Rakilians being sent back to wherever the heck they were going, they scream out Divine Intervention. So you're kind of like, because they're like,
oh, that's what drove me crazy about this. I'm like, what about it?
So in my mind, and this is why we're doing the after party, I want to know what everyone else wants to know. In my mind, I'm thinking like that Divine Intervention was their take 2. That the first plan didn't work, which is what this is. And this is them doing it again and trying to alter the butterfly effect way of altering the Doctor from getting, doing whatever it is that enslaves their poor race on Earth. So that's what I'm guessing Divine Intervention, that they're connected.
Maybe.
Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Another strand that I think that's out there of 100 strands are going to be. I'm going to even go as far as to say, and I've got nothing on this, but I think Robin has more than what we are to believe. I think there's a lot more to Robin than what we're being led on to believe, because he just seems to be very smart. Now it could be all street smart, but he just seems to. And when he was hanging with the Doctor, he was kind of like. I wouldn't say things didn't puzzle him, but it was just like it was just like Tanya. Oh, Cybermen, Daleks. Okay, yeah, whatever. You're just muttering on there. And at one point, I think the Doctor said something, and Tanya was insulted, and he goes, "I hate it when you do that," or something like that. Mm-hmm. She retorted, but I was just like, okay. So
now everybody, watch. This is how you do a segue. Christian, are you saying that Robin is that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
That's a possibility. What are you trying to say there, Melanie?
What I'm saying is segue 101. What I'm saying is Robin might be portrayed by what's the kid's name? Oh, Lord. Cast people. What's his name? The actor. Joel James Davison is the son of the 5th Doctor. So
booyah!
There
Happy birthday!
And again, that's his birthday.
So
but Robin's go ahead.
No, I was about to say your daughter has been in Doctor Who. Your son-in-law has been in Doctor Who. Your son has been in Doctor Who. It's just now it's a family affair when it comes to Peter Davis.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! It's just
eventually it's going to become an in joke somewhere in the series. They're going to all be there at some point.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's going to be like Kevin Bacon, 5 degrees of Peter Davison, somewhere along the way.
So it's kind of fun the fact that you have this father-son-esque talk between the Doctor and Robin, and here it's it's like Jenny was the Doctor's daughter. Wink.
Mm-hmm.
It's Robin, the actor behind Robin is the Fifth Doctor's the son. So which was funny here. We had in this particular episode, we also had a nod to the Fifth Doctor with the TV show, him bringing up the cricket for the cricket question.
And the seventh, or was it the last one where they got? He was talking about the umbrella. They're running. I'm like, I wish I still had my umbrella.
That umbrella.
I think that was
Love
this
that
one.
handle.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved him and Andy running and going, so who are we looking for? I think that man over there who's going to that is pointing his weapon is going to shoot us. And Andy's like, what? And they run. I think that's the man we're looking for.
Lee, if you could do me a favor, send me the link PM to your Doctor Who site, and I will post it on here so people can see your site, and I'll send you the link from here via PM so that you can share our link back to your site. That made sense. Exactly there. So send me your link. I will show everybody where to go to get more Doctor Who Facebook presence, and I will send you the link back from here that you can put on your Facebook page. So thank you. Hello, Paul. Hello. So thank you everybody for joining us so far out there. What I was missing something.
Mackenzie,
Chris is doing whatever Chris is doing.
Yeah. Mackenzie, what was another part of the of divine intervention that you loved that I know at the very end you had like poquito time to say? So what else about it did you love?
I liked where they brought in Mr. Bird again, or what appears to be Mr. Bird, where he shows up in front of this building and they're talking about, I think it's Helen and Andy talking about it, and then suddenly, boom! I'm like, okay, why? And then you, at the same time, the next scene, suddenly now the Doctor's talking to Mr. Bird, like, wait, how's that? How can they be in two places at one? I thought actually at one point that it was everything blew up, and then they were in another scene like further away, so it wasn't happening at the same time. And then when I found out it happened at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay, now that's got to be interesting. How did that happen?
Bet you there was scorch marks underneath them. I think that was a great way of them playing off the fact of how was he in two places at once, and at one and with the Doctor and Andy, I believe when they went to go look for him, when they went to look for him, they get to him in his little attic flat, and he's like, let me just go to the other room real quick and let me go get something. And he walks away, and then he's like, and what are we doing? He goes, and you can hear the Doctor, we're following him, and the timing was just like real quick, like, and we are following, and he was gone. So it's like neat to know. Does he have a vortex? My brain kept thinking vortex manipulator, but then you realize it's got to be something like
else.
it, akin to that.
Yeah, I thought maybe it's a paradox in that there's another version of him, like how we got in Back to the Future, where we got multiple versions of him walking around.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible, and might not be. It could be even maybe that's connected to the whole thing that happened with the TARDIS, where the TARDIS suddenly starts to become alive again because she's got to protect her Doctor, but then she kind of doesn't quite make it all the way. But you know that there's something really big has happened.
I
did. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say I like kind of the connection that Big Finish brings in from the TV series that they kind of yank in every once in a while, especially him having future stuff. Like there was the first time we're mentioned about, for a better term, I guess, the Doctor's family, the Doctor's parents. He mentions that his family were big in politics on Gallifrey. And we got mentioned that in Capaldi when Me comes up and challenges him at the end of the universe and says that you are a high roller on Gallifrey, and here you go start chasing things around. Paraphrasing what Maisie Williams said, but yeah, that's reflected. of course, the Curator coming back over here and having a presence. And I'm hoping, I don't think they will, but I'm hoping they don't disappoint what the Curator is. Or maybe the Curator is going to be completely an anomaly by himself, and we just still won't know, just the way like the Doctor should be. We don't know anything about the Doctor. We just know the Curator's out there. He's doing his thing. He looks like it's Back to the Future 2, where he's just making sure everything is in place and everything's happening. Yes, I want more Tom Baker. I'm sorry. I do want more Tom Baker. He better be in all 4 episodes, and they better not have a half-hour episode. I was about to say half or something else. But it's like, I want Tom in everything. Give me the Curator. Again, I want it. I need it. Please. So.
The other thing I was not expecting was the Doctor not just getting shot, but he gets killed because Liv is trying to save him. I mean, you got they even had the audio of like the chest compressions that he lost, one heart's out, trying to keep, and the other one's kind of being, a little thready. And then you realize, oh my God, they killed the Doctor. Wait, what? You killed the Doctor in Big Finish? My brain's like, and then you realize the whole paradox. What does a time machine? And it's funny how it's Robin, the one that explains, what does a time machine do? What are we, with the paradox, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's the one helping people connect the dots.
Right. That's why I think there's a lot more to Robin than what we're leading on. He's just the kid in the show. I think there's a lot more to Robin, but I'm sure that's going to be explained. Yeah.
I'm not so sure. It could just be that they're actually writing it very smart, because we don't give the Zoomer generation nearly enough credit for stuff like that.
It's a possibility.
They get it more than and we will never get what their generation does.
I felt bad that Robin didn't have his console. Like everything got, poor kid. First, his console got stolen by the Doctor, and then it was finally given back. And then now it's like, it was gone. Everything was broke. All the power, everything wasn't working. It's like, it's poor child. And then not a child. He's 13. What, 13? 15?
I think
15. No, 15. I remember that he corrected.
He ends up saying,
He mentioned his age down there. I'm just saying this: if the Doctor is ever a landlord or a superintendent of a place that I plan to live on, I'm going to move next door and just watch the building from afar.
Yes, I want to watch, but I don't want to live in that place.
I think
too run down.
I don't know why it came up in my head when I found out he was the landlord of this place and everything. He was just letting things go. I don't know why. The first impression was the movie The Super with Joe Pesci. I have no idea why that came up. And I was just like, he's got other things in mind. And one of the things I think, I'm going to bring this to you, Mackenzie, because you rated it a 10. And this kind of threw me off a little bit here, because Matt Smith's Doctor has always had that line that has been very important to him and to people who says, I've never met somebody who wasn't important. But the 8th Doctor refers to the people in his place as dull, ordinary people. And the only thing I could get my head around is that he's not in his element. So he's having, for a better term, I guess, earthbound cabin fever.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not thinking straight, because when he's in his element, he sees the universe, he sees the human race from afar. But when he has to be in it, and he has to go through the mud, and he has to take the long path with the rest of us, he refers to us as dull, ordinary people. So what do you think of the take on that? Is my thesis on that right? Or
no, I think it's right on. I mean, even if we even go past the 11, we look at Peter Capaldi's Doctor. I mean, he spends a lot of time calling people pudding brains. So, and
that's true. That is true.
And then didn't he say something when he was talking to Bill, and Bill asked him, well, why are you so interested in wanting to stick around? And he's just like, well, I find you more interesting. And so it's like very different from how Paul McGann's Doctor at this particular moment. But I agree. I think it is. So one of those things, when a Doctor gets angry, he tends to insult the human race. So I think this is just one of those times where he's insulting us without insulting us.
We're stupid apes.
Yeah, especially when he gets frustrated.
So
he's he's in a place of frustration. He's in self-loathing and anger. Of course, he's just going to lash out of that. He feels that he doesn't belong there, and so he's going to, articulate the reasons why he doesn't belong there, and not in the I'm better. Nope, you're worse.
Yeah, and that's okay. I get that. And I was watching when I was listening to the game show too. When it gets to the $80,000 question, I thought they were going to have some kind of funny in there, not just the way that they handled that question, where it was like, well, nobody won the game. I kind of felt that the doctor was going to slip up and say something by accident, and that's how he would win the game. Like, he wasn't going to lose the game, but he would said something like, oh, well, Cybermen, Daleks, how he was with Tanya. He was just going to start sputtering out, and then the answer would eventually kick out of there, and just like, oh, okay. But,
going, well, no, let's see. In 2022, this place won. Then 2020, this place won. Him actually saying the wrong freaking century. Like, no, that's 2052. I need 1952. It's like, doctor.
Oh, I loved it when with the Peter Sellers moment. I loved it.
I know, and he just
if Ustinov can do it, you can do it. I'm just like, oh my god,
you can do it. I'm like,
that was one of my favorite moments. I think it was just like, oh my god, he knew Peter Sellers.
Well, there's times where even Helen says stuff throughout the entire box set, and you can see that Tony is like, see, this is why I like you, and there's times where she'll even make references like either to London or the flats being a different way, blah blah blah, and even Tanya is kind of like, what, because she's from, I think, the 60s or 70s, so she's saying stuff that hence why the older the two gentlemen kind of get her a little bit more, because but they think that she's just like an old soul. In reality, no, she's actually your contemporary.
As far as character development, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, Mackenzie, did you go back and listen to the interviews at all?
No.
You mentioned you just kind of skipped. No.
Skipped
Ron and Tony do an interview segment in it, and they have the same kind of bantering over top of each other.
Yes.
In the interview as they do in the show. It's amazing. It's if Waldorf and Statler were nice.
We're nice people. Flat on Baker Street.
Right?
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
I didn't make that analogy, but now I do. Now I gotta see those two together dancing, tripping over. Oh my god, I can't even. No, it's a weird. Okay, never mind.
Oh, Christian's brain. I broke Christian's brain.
I'm sorry. I went through Stranded. Going through this series, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it broke my brain. I'm like, what? Where? How? Where do they come? What do they? Who's Mr. Bird? Damn! Oh, it's over. Great.
And for me, when I was listening to it, because I'm in the process of redoing my TV pilot, I have officially rewrote it because I found that my pilot conflict was working for all season one, and pilot needs to have its own separate. So I was like, oh, that's how they do it. This. Oh. It was for me. I was saying, oh, that's how they do it. And so actually I did it.
Oh my goodness. And there's going to be 4 boxes, right?
Yes.
At least.
They've
announced 4 so far.
Announced 4, and I believe 4 in each one. I'm not sure.
Wow.
That part I'm not sure.
Pretty standard for them. That's pretty standard for them. So.
But that music suite was amazing. But
I'll have to listen to that. Damn it. I skipped that too.
It was. Well, no, I'll agree.
So peaceful and just nice. And I was like, oh, this is just lovely. The worst thing, though, for me listening to Must See TV is a lot of it happened in the rain. Actually, no, and Divine Intervention was, no, it was Must See TV was mostly in the rain, wasn't it? Because that's when he says, I wish I had my own umbrella.
Yes.
And I was outside listening, painting. And it was one of those days where I'm looking outside. I'm like, is it raining? Is it raining yet? Is it raining yet? And I kept hearing it in the story. I'm like, damn, I should not be listening to this because it's throwing me off. It's making me think that it's raining because the clouds made it look like it was about to.
Yeah.
Oh.
I tend to be listening to these things with 1 earphone in, not 2, or just off of my phone or whatever, right? And then today I happened to be listening to it with both headphones in, and it changes everything so drastically. Like if you haven't listened, they do so good with the 3D soundscape.
Yes, definitely. Big shout out to sound designer extraordinaire Benji Clifford, because I re-listened to the Divine Intervention yesterday, because I knew we were going to be doing this, and I wanted to make sure my brain was fresh with it. And I had both in, and that was one where you could really, really playing between the left ear, right ear, and kind of getting that full 360 kind of vibe of where things were in relation, so that you felt like you were immersed in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing with the Big Finish audios. Like you said, I would love to have both ear. If you really want the good acoustics, what I loved about Big Finish is, and when they start opening conventions again, I loved it when I took that long drive to Miami or Tampa, and I would put a Big Finish on, and your car became,
Oh yeah.
And I think I mentioned when we did the interview with Rob Sherman, I was like, I was mad at him because of Scherzo. I'm going to warn people right now, if you listen to Scherzo, turn the volume down just a little bit, because there are moments where there is screaming, like high-pitched wailing screaming, and I swear to you, when I was listening, and all of a sudden there was a scream, and I lost control of the car for just a little bit. I'm like, holy cow. And I had to turn down. Yeah, I had to turn down the volume. It scared the crap out of me. Like, where the hell is that coming from? It's coming from the audio. I was like, damn it.
Inside the car.
Please don't kill me.
Driving too, because I like to go to Wizard World. I like when I'm going to Wizard World, I'm listening to a Big Finish, and I've done that more than once when I'm like, oh, it was just the audio. Good somebody else on the road right now. It's 4 a.m.
But before I started working from home with the other job, I used to drive an hour to Melbourne every day, and I would throw on a Big Finish. And the thing is that I hated it, because if I had like an 8-hour show and I only heard the first hour, I'm like, I can't wait to get off, because I want to hear what happens.
You do those big road trips. That's when
exactly. I gave myself my own cliffhanger. I can't. So I gotta wait until I get home to find out if the doctor makes it or not, or if something bad happens, or if his companion makes it. It's like,
So I think we're at 3 minutes now, so we need to wrap up. Do you want to go ahead and recap again what we're going to be doing next week after? Blah, 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 blah.
Right now, this Friday, just keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. We are just letting people know, please subscribe to YouTube, because not only Bits of the TARDIS is a permanent resident down there, but the Who News will also be moving there for all of our subscribers for our YouTube channel. And we'll be adding more content as it comes along. Next week will be Yi-Ji Cho. We're working with something at this time with Wizard World that hopefully we'll take next month. You probably, if you've already been watching the show, you probably already know, but I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm hoping our friends at Wizard World pull this off. This is going to be amazing if it gets pulled off, and we're going to be a part of it, and we're excited, and we can't wait. So that's going to be happening, and I think that is it, unless I'm missing something.
Just want a quick plug for Wizard World. They are doing a lot more things, especially in Wizard World Vault, but I know that there is a David Tennant signing. There is coming up on wizardworld.com. Go there to look to see their schedule. There's another one, I believe, with Companions. So I believe Billy Piper, Jenna Coleman. They're going to be doing some different signings. Probably a quick Q&A. Don't know if they're doing the chats. You got to go look stuff. But if you're definitely into Doctor Who, check out wizardworld.com and go ahead and look at their schedule to see what's going on and what you can, virtual con it.
Gotcha. So if you're not there already, facebook.com, Wizard World, go ahead and subscribe right over there. And if you want to check out their merchandise, wizardworldvault.com. And for those our friends are on Wizard World, don't forget to like us on the Traveling TARDIS, 51,000 strong and growing rapidly. And again, as I've mentioned, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost to our goal of 1,000. Keep watching the new episodes. If you love Paul McGann, we've interviewed Paul McGann. You can watch the classic episode or the Bits of the TARDIS as well of Yi-Ji Cho, Dr. David Brin. We did an interview with him. He's on the Bits of the TARDIS as well. That's with his own episode. Katie Manning. Katie Manning. We've had her on twice.
Twice.
And with Tim Trelaw. And I think that's one of our most zaniest episodes ever.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with all of our interviews. Like,
which is fun. It was a lot. It was more comedic.
Katie's just zany. Full
yeah,
stop.
it was just we convinced Katie to interview Tim Trelaw, who does a third Doctor voiceover for Big Finish, and I convinced Katie to come back and say, why don't you become part of our interview? And even with the technical issues, we still had a phenomenal time. And I can tell you, Tim and Katie were, I think, flirt level, gone off the charts. And if you know anything about
they were
Katie,
game for it, so it was a great interview.
It was an awesome interview. And there's tons of awesome interviews. Jeremy Raddick, who Paul McGann, Sylvester McCoy. Oh, I meant
Sophie Aldrich.
Sophie Aldrich twice.
Yes.
For her
Nice.
book, and the list goes on and on and on. My brain's fried, so that's why I can't think of it. Just go
I
on,
only
trust
have
me,
so
just
many
go-
hours in a day. There will be more bits.
Phantasmagoria. They did a Christmas episode, and that the Christmas episode is up, but I think the Halloween episode we're still trying to get up. So all this will be moving to our YouTube channel if you want to. So again, thank you everybody. Please stay safe out there. And continue to become part of the legend as always. We love you guys. We will be here next week with Yi Cho. And I'm just going to say this. I haven't even told the panel yet.
No.
But we've got a big surprise with Yi at the after party. Haven't told him yet. So
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. And he
I haven't
won't.
seen the email.
But trust me, it's going to be a big surprise. And I think they're going to be a little shocked, but we're going to have a great fun with it. So thank you all for joining us. And again, stay safe and become part of the legend.